Hello everyone, and welcome to this interesting little thing I found. A little bit of nostalgia, 2004 nostalgia to be exact. Now, I have been not really big into Mario fan games, but I played a few. This was not one of them, so I have no idea. Now, let me clarify, if you tell by the dates down there, I'm playing the Super Nintendo ROM hack of Super Mario World, as opposed to the PC version, which is now infamous for giving you shitty toolbars, let's be honest. Mario or Mario plus Luigi? Let's do Mario. Mario, the main guy, the main man himself. We'll see what we got going on here. I've never played the original, so I'm kind of interested to see how this is going to go. My god, that's loud. A very long time ago, in the vast, beautiful land of Toadstool, where the Toadstool people made their toadstool homes, they lived prosperous, peaceful lives, till something disastrous happened. An evil reptile by the name of Koopa, whose dark desire was to have this land for himself, decided it was ripe for the taking and invaded, leaving destruction in his wake, enslaving his peaceful hands. Jesus Christ! But our hero, the intrepid and determined plumber Mario, witnessed the calamity. He couldn't just sit back and watch. He had to do something to stop it. Alright. Okay. Yeah. Basic enough, except the enslaving part. That's a little weird for Mario. But yeah. This cutscene's still going? Look at them run! Look at the little Rusher people! Oh god! Oh my god! He's just leveling the place! Is he gonna launch the nukes? Like, why'd you just launch the nukes instead? Instead of just bringing in actual, warfare? I don't know how I feel about this. It's a little, that's something. There's just Mario chasing after us like, let's go! Gotta catch up! Let's go! Okay, World 1-1. Let's go. Now, I hope this to be like okay, I have the button set. Okay. I hope this to be a chill playthrough instead of something like, I don't know. I tend to be a hyphy individual. Get over here. I'm still using my shitty controller, but yeah. I tend to be a hyphy individual, but I'd want to be, pretty chill, you know? I want this to be chill, even though it's Mario, and Mario is kind of skill intensive. Okay, let's walk it, and that's running. Okay, not very much of a difference. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, so it's like a little bit chill. That's what I'm going for, and it's a little more skill intensive than what I'm used to for playthroughs. So it's gonna be a little weird currently, but I got this. It'll be fine. So yeah, this is interesting because I don't want to reveal much goes on behind the scenes too much, but I got plans, and that's how this is gonna go. Jeez, I'm tired. What is that? What's that? What's in this clouds? Alright, Fire Flower. That's good enough for me. Frig off. Yeah. Skill. 10 out of 10 skill. Wait a minute. I touched that and I beat the level, but I wanted to, do the little beam there. Okay. Okay, I guess. That's how it be sometimes. A cave level. Typical 1-2 fare. Except we're, talking about, Super Mario World. You gotta remember, this is, a Super Mario World hack. Is it, or just, straight up, I'm gonna, say it's, hardcore is here? I'm not hardcore, though. I'm a softie. I'm a stafty. As that one person on Facebook said, you're... Skill. Great skill. But I have some funny stories. This guy on Facebook, he's just a real weirdo, but sometimes I'll get, messages on Facebook, because I troll people on Facebook just a little bit. Nothing too crazy. But I got, a message from this one guy. You're just like... Whoa, yeah, boy. Do I want to blame my controller, or do I want to blame my own incompetence? I'm blaming the controller today. You know, it's your guys, it's your fault for watching me, as the childhood, excuse is. I heard this game gets kind of tough later, so I don't know how I feel about, this. But, yeah, I troll people on Facebook, and I'm not the kind of person who will just, like, I'm not gonna get into politics, don't worry, but, like, my whole thing about, ideology and all this other stuff is, like, to kind of make an outright mockery of everything. That's just, like, a huge philosophy of mine, is to mock everything. So when it comes to, say, like, political pages on Facebook or something, on Boomer Book, because, you know, Boomer Town, I guess. But, alright, I'm gonna figure out how to get that beam eventually. So I'll troll, and sometimes I mess with this one conservative page fairly frequently. And, one guy is just like, you know, says very nasty words to me, like, he called me the F-slur. He's like, oh, that's so mean. What am I ever gonna do? You called me a bad word. And that's the thing. I get why, because people like me, if you so much as say, like, anything, like, people will just have meltdowns. Because people put too much power into words, in my opinion. So it's like, I guess this guy's used to just, like, instigating a meltdown by saying a bad word. So it's just like, oh, okay, whatever. But then then you're dealing with me, who's, like, I guess built different. And it's just like, oh, you just called me a really nasty word. Okay. I called him a manlet, and he just completely melted down, was just like, I could beat the tar out, you're nothing but flab and estrogen. It's just like, okay, buckaroo, whatever. And then he blocks me, and it's just like, haha, tough guy. What now, internet tough guy? What now? So, that's my story of my interactions with an internet tough guy. If I'm smart, and well, during editing, I'll censor what he said, but I'll put it on screen just so I'm proving I ain't full of shit. Oh, you won't see his name or his picture. I don't want anyone to go and find and harass him. I just want to show you the text. That's what's important to me, is to show you the text. Just because it's funny. But it's like, that's like a huge thing about, like, human interaction, I've noticed. Is, like, people are used to just, like, I don't know, human interaction, it's like, I said this before, where it's like, you can't count people online as human beings, in a sense. And that sounds really weird for me to say, but let me just try. I'm distracted by talking, but let me try to articulate this point just a little bit. You can't, like, view other people online when they say something as, like, a human being. So, like, I can't point to, like, somebody who said something on Twitter and say, this is indicative of everyone who holds this belief. You know, I can't say that, because you have to, like, understand that online has, like, a brain poison, like, affecting people, called clout and, like, internet fame, grifting, and all this other stuff. So I can't just say, like, oh, this person holds this belief, so everyone who holds, like, this other belief is completely as reprehensible or insane as this other person. You get what I'm saying? That was a mean game. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? So it's like this thing, you know? It's just how it is. So like, where was I going with that? Oh God. That's music, I guess. Does this count as music? I mean, it's got a good bump to it. Ah, damn it. Can I just avoid it? No, this ain't like Mario 1. Okay. It's got a good bump to it, but then the, like, sounds like a cat's being shoved through a... You know, shoved through, like, a meat grinder? Like a techno meat grinder. That's gratuitous sounding. Glad that's over. I don't know where was I going with my original point about people not being, like, human online. So, like, the guy, Butthead, said butthead things. People putting value in words. Okay, yeah. So this guy probably had these interactions with people on Twitter, or Facebook, or whatever, where you can just say to, like, the minority group or the woman or the whatever that I use bad words to describe you. Really bad word that you're typically not allowed to say, that's not socially acceptable. And then they'll have a meltdown, and he'll laugh. So I guess somebody's just not used to that being flipped on them. Wow. Were they able to recreate the Super Mario 64 song accurately in the Super Nintendo, or did they just somehow in the hack just make it just play? That was cool. That was cool. But yeah, that's like the whole thing. So I can't also just say, oh, I trolled a conservative page. So this conservative guy like melted down and was an idiot and just a jerk and said these bad things. I can't just like lump everyone else together. That's not fair of me. And I think that's like a piece of human interaction. I'm trying to say this as apolitically as possible, so I'm not even going to give my whole political ideology, because I'm very complex in the fact that I have my own beliefs, and that not a lot of people are in general happy with. And that's not because they're like bad, it's just because I try to just like take a step back and look at things in a specific way. So I'm not going to go too deep into that, because that's not fun, and that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to entertain and be silly and be chill. So, but like, I feel like people are very quick to like make broad generalizations of everyone that's not them. And I feel like that's like not fair to anyone of any ideology, thought process, or viewpoint. You know? Now, obviously, there can be just absolutely people. That's the thing. Whenever I say that, like, I remember I made a point on a forum once that I was like, hey, you know, maybe people, like, have reasons to hold individual beliefs they have. And I feel like that's a rational thing to, like, think, you know? Hey, somebody who believes X or Y belief has a reason to believe that. Nothing up here? No secrets? Alright. Okay, let's see if I can do it. Yep, yeet! Oh, well. But I felt like that was, like, a not controversial thing. Then, like, some real big brain, like, they were swelling with intelligence. Like, you could see their brain was, like, throbbing with intelligence. Were like, what about Ted Bundy? And it's just like, oh, shut the fuck up. Because it's just like, yeah, you can take something what somebody says, and they say it in good faith, you know? Like, hey, you know, maybe there's a lot of people who think certain ways, like, and they have reasons. And then somebody, like, isn't there, like, some sort of logical fallacy where somebody will just bring up the most extreme possibility possible to try to make you look like an idiot? Even though, obviously, any rational or intelligent person would be like, oh, yeah, there are, like, outliers to every kind of thought process. But, like, and it's like this whole thing about internet discourse that I feel is completely ruined. Is just like, I can't just have a sane take like that without somebody pulling out something extreme in response, when any rational person would just be like, yeah, there is, like, outliers. I just repeated what I said. Gosh darn it. Because I was, like, trying to oh god. That was not water physics I was used to. But, like, I don't feel like everyone should, like, make a statement, but while they're making a statement, have to put, like, 11 different asterisks where it's like, oh, this is possible, and this is possible, and this is possible. I feel like trying to force people to make, like, a million different asterisks. Oh, god, there's a lot of cheeps. Hide! Oh, Mario squats. He doesn't duck, he squats. Let's twerk. Let's never twerk. Let's never make Mario twerk ever again. Yeah, I don't feel like a sign of actual intelligence is to, like, take a claim someone says and force them to, like, put 11 different asterisks after. It's like, okay, there's this outlier, and there's this outlier, and this outlier. I don't think that reeks of intelligence. I think that just reeks of just being an asshole. And that's, like, a thing I gotta, like, because I say, you know, just, like, internet whatever kind of stuff, because it's like, I'm 27, I've said that before. And so I was, like, on the internet probably at a little too young of an age, so I got this whole, like... So I had this whole thing with, like, older internet kind of stuff, like mid-2000s, where it's just, like, if people said something on the internet and you didn't agree with it, you would either, like, be the adult and ignore it, or you would just be an asshole and flame them. But now it feels like there's a neither option is possible in the modern era. It feels like you can't ignore it, and you can't flame somebody and be an asshole. You have to go like on a forum, because I use forums as an example as Boomer. You have to go and find the moderator and befriend a moderator and have them like backstab somebody for you, or try to report them and get them banned for saying mean words to you. It's complete like childish schoolyard stuff. And that's like a thing I brought up like at some point. Like I felt interacting with my newer coworkers who just graduated high school was like enlightening about like the public school system and everything, because I was like talking to him and he's like, I described like what the world, I wasn't super cognizant about the world before 9/11, but like I was cognizant enough to understand that the world before 9/11 was like a better place. So I try to articulate like there was like a time where just things were good and better. Now, of course, like I said, I could bring up outliers of different socioeconomic conditions for different groups of people and all that other stuff. But in general, I'd say the quality of life and people were also happier. Because now it feels like now that everybody's on the internet, and I feel like the thing about the internet is there's like a lot of possibilities with it, you know? But it also just makes us miserable, like super miserable, like incredibly miserable. And that was like a scientific like study thing like done out Facebook and all these other stuff. They used Facebook as an example, how it makes us miserable. And it's like, yeah, it kind of does. And I think generally comparing lives to each other and all this other stuff, it just doesn't seem right. Because we as a species are like tribal in nature. So the whole nature of being a tribal species is like you all shared a very similar existence in your small little tribe. So when somebody nowadays is just like, oh, look at this great thing I did. I went to freaking Italy this summer. And it's like all the people who can't afford to go to Italy are just like, oh. You know, there's like this whole tier class system going on with life too. And I'm just dying a bunch because it's like, okay, I could bring up the classic playthrough person excuse of, hey, you know, you're going to make fun of me for playing bad, but you know, I also have to entertain, and that just distracts me from the game. And it's like, yeah, I guess that's a valid excuse, but like, whatever. It's like there's a lot of factors going into my terrible play, and I'd say it's at least 65% skill. Then there's like maybe 10% dedicated that I'm commentating, and then the other numbered percent, I say 24%, is dedicated to my controller. So there's that. And it's like, wow, I said this was gonna be a chill playthrough, and I went on an emotional tirade about multiple things. Multiple not chill things. But I hope I got across the points I was trying to make in a semi-intelligent way. If not, that's also indicative of just like my communicative abilities. Cause like that's the thing, is like I can't articulate how intelligent I used to be versus how intelligent I am now. And I always like, it's like I said this to a friend like recently. I said like, how much do I like not like understand like Generation Z and their stuff? Is that like Generation Z being dumber than me, or like me just like being a boomer and having this Dunning-Kruger effect at play, you know? So he's like, well, the fact that you're bringing up the Dunning-Kruger effect shows that you're like a step above the average like Neanderthal human, and it's just like, I guess that makes sense to me. So I guess there is like a, so at least if the fact I'm acknowledging that the Dunning-Kruger effect might be at play, then there's hope for me for not being the out-of-touch boomer one day, you know? That's like, the thing is, I don't want to be that out-of-touch person, you know? That's just like, I don't want to be that, because it's like, I feel like as a millennial, well, I say millennial, but it's very dubious. Some people will say I'm Gen Z, some will say I'm millennial. But, like, my whole thing is how I determine millennial is when the millennial, because it's always like, it always starts. Everyone knows when millennial starts, but nobody knows where it ends, you know? And that's always, like, tricky. So my whole thing is, like, if you can remember Y2K, then I'd say you're a millennial. Because I remember Y2K. That's a funny story, with Y2K, because for all youngins who might be too young to remember Y2K, basically, you know, when time and years and stuff roll over, well, on computers, they were like, oh god, it's going to roll over and it's going to be 0-0 and the world is going to end and nukes are going to launch and we're all going to die. You know, and it's just like, what's really funny is like, was that my fault? I don't know if that was my fault right there. I'll give it one more go. But, like, 'cause I was in the middle of a conversation. I wanted these to be, like, 20-minute episodes for this playthrough, but let me just, like, continue my conversation for a second. With the Y2K, it was just, like, so everyone thought, like, nukes were gonna launch and shit, and it's just really dumb. And we look back at it now, it's like, wow, people were stupid. But you gotta understand, computers were, like, more mystical back then. There was, like, this, like, thing with them. It's like, not everyone understood them yet. So, like, I can understand why these, like, thoughts could happen with that. So I'm not going to look down at everybody and say, oh, they're stupid, but, like, they kind of were. But my family, my dad was always, like, forward-thinking with technology. Because my family owns a business that I'm completely disconnected from now, because that's another story for another day. But, basically, they own a business, and they were, like, and for us as a family to run this family business, we had to be, like, forward-thinking with technology. So, butts! Final Fantasy V, butts! So we had to be forward-thinking with technology. And with that came a knowledge of what computers are and how they work. So my family was just like, yeah, the world's not going to end because Y2K compliance is just a thing that I've been working on for like a really long time. Computer people had this in their heads for a while now as like a potential problem. So, you know, that was always like a thing. So yeah. So my family, I remember going into, like, my town's Bel Air, as, you know, Bel Air is a grocery store in America, for all you non-Americans, for non-burgers, we would just, like, look at people hoarding toilet paper and food and water and stuff, and we just look at them and kind of laugh a little bit. Now, there's a whole thing about, like, doomsday prepping and all this other stuff, and you can just say, like, have your own opinions about that, but in general, I feel like it's smart to have, like, emergency supplies regardless if you're like a doomsday prepper or not. So I get that, but that's why people aren't prepared, and that's why people panic buys, because people aren't prepared. And there's also an amount of like financial stability that allows you to be prepared and all this other stuff. I get that as well. So made it, nailed it, first try. So yeah, there's that as an outlier too, but in general I think it's smart to be prepared, and when people aren't prepared and they feel like something bad's gonna happen, they panic buy. I just like, so that was like a whole thing my family is kind of like making fun of, if that makes any sense. But this episode went a little longer than intended, but I hope my terrible gameplay didn't take away from my, at least my hopefully semi-interesting commentary. But with that, you know, I'll see y'all next time. Same place, same time, or whatever my upload schedule is gonna be. Yeah, see y'all. Adios.